Hello and welcome to Sport Television. I am Olushola Yanoluwa, bringing you the week's top up stories in News Top Up. Let's dive in.
Tensions are escalating between the United States and Nigeria following a stern warning from US President Donald Trump over what he describes as the killing of Christians in Nigeria. In a statement on November 1st, President Trump threatened to cut off all US aid and assistance to Nigeria and even instructed the Pentagon to prepare for possible military action if the government in Abuja fails to protect Christian communities. The move followed Washington's decision to list Nigeria as a country of particular concern for alleged violations of religious freedom. Nigeria's government swiftly rejected both the designation and the threat, calling the US report faulty and politically motivated. Officials maintain that the violence affects people of faith, pointing instead to terrorism and communal clashes as the root causes. Security sources say the National Security Advisor met with service chiefs this week to review the potential fallout from Trump's comment. Meanwhile, China has joined the discussion criticizing Washington's remarks and warning against what is called foreign interference in Nigeria's internal affairs. Political reaction at home are mixed. Peter Obi has urged dialogue and constructive engagement. Johnson Wike described Trump's words as politics taken too far, while Rabiu Kwakwanso and Abdulsalami Abubakar have both called for diplomatic resolution and restraint. And in a dramatic twist, detained IBOP leader Nnamdi Kanu has written to President Trump backing the US stance and alleging what he calls state-sponsored genocide against Christians and the Igbo people in Nigeria. In the letter dated November 6th, Kanu urges the US to lead an independent investigation into alleged mass killings and to consider sanctions against Nigerian officials. He also calls for an international supervised referendum on self-determination for the Southeast. However, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has promised the citizens not to panic concerning the threat by the American president. President Tinubu stated that government recognizes the frustration, with government performers promising tangible actions and positive results in the coming days. He added that both countries has reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening the enduring diplomatic relations between the two nations. In the Federal Capital Territory, the strike by the resident doctors under the FCT administration is still ongoing, despite partial payment made in the days leading up to Tuesday, November 4, 2025. According to a statement released by the Association of Resident Doctors FCTA chapter and published on Wednesday, November 5, 2025, 28 doctors who had been owed between 1 month and a year in salaries have now been paid. The group also confirmed that part of the medical residency training fund had been released, but only 103 out of 150 eligible doctors had received gas, leaving 47 still unpaid. The doctors say their partial compliance is not enough to end their indefinite strike, which continues to disrupt services in public hospitals across FCT Abuja. It will be recalled that the Association of Nigerian Resident Doctors across the nation embarked on indefinite strike with the key demands which include payment of all outstanding salaries, a 13-month hazard allowance, backlog dating back to 2021, and doctors' welfare, among others. It's political tension once again in Nigeria's main opposition party, People's Democratic Party (PDP), as fresh court rulings, suspensions, and internal power struggles rock the party ahead of its planned national convention. On Monday, November 3rd, a high court in Ibadan, Oyo State, lifted an earlier restriction on the PDP's convention, effectively clearing the way for it to hold on 15th and 16th of November. Justice Ladiri Akitola also directed the Independent National Electoral Commission to attend and monitor the exercise, at least until the motion on notice is heard on November 10th. But that ruling directly conflicts with an earlier judgment from the Federal High Court in Abuja, which on November 1st stopped preparations for the same convention, citing irregularities and non-compliance with the PDP Constitution and the Electoral Act. The contradicting orders have deepened the internal crisis within the party, splitting its leadership between two major factions, Wike and Damagun-led faction, which led to the party's National Working Committee suspending several top officials, including National Secretary Samuel Ayanwu and National Organizing Secretary Omar Bature, over alleged anti-party activities. Shetunde Koshendo has been directed to act in the meantime. In the same way, Wike loyalist Samuel Anyawu-led faction counter-suspended the PDP national chairman Damagu and some national escort of the party and hijacked the party secretariat. Meanwhile, the PDP Board of Trustees met in Abuja on Wednesday, November 5th, to deliberate on the escalating tension and the fate of the planned convention. From the other camp, FCT Minister Johnson Wike has rejected the Oyo court ruling, insisting that the Abuja judgment still stands and warning against what he called judicial shopping within the party. For now, both sides remain defiant as the PDP's road to its national convention hangs in uncertainty. In Lagos, the police has declared activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore wanted over an alleged plan to disrupt public order and block major roads, including the Third Mainland Bridge and Lekki toll gates. The declaration came on 3rd November 2025 with the Lagos Commissioner of Police Olorundare Jimoh saying Sowore failed to appear in response to invitation from the police. The police commissioner also alleged that Sowore does not possess a valid NYC certificate, claiming he never completed his national service. Sowore has rejected the police action as unlawful, insisting it was not properly notified and calling the wanted notice an attempt to silence its activism. On November 6, 2025, a federal high court in Lagos issued an interim injunction restraining the police from arresting, intimidating, or continuing to declare Sowore wanted pending further court proceedings. For now, the situation remains in legal limbo as the police declaration is paused by the court order, but tensions continue to mount between Sowore and law enforcement. In Abuja, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan was briefly prevented from traveling at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport on Tuesday, 4th November 2025. Natasha alleged immigration officers initially withheld her international passport, prompting her to live stream the incident on social media, claiming she was being targeted without any court order. The senator maintained that the instruction to block her travel came from political sources, but the Nigerian Immigration Service later clarified that she was subjected only to routine checks and that her passport was never formally seized. After the confrontation, she was allowed to travel. Civil society groups have condemned the alleged interference, calling it unwarranted and illegal, while the incident raises broader questions about the freedom of movement for public officials. For now, Senator Natasha has left the airport, but the episode has sparked discussions about political overreach and institutional accountability.
That's all for now. Stay updated on latest trends by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Bulus World Television. Once again, I'm Mulushola Yanolua. Thanks for watching.